We're back out here today with another episode of the progress on my tiny home. It's been about 2 weeks since the last time we were out here, and there are quite a few changes. So let's get started. If you remember, in the previous episode we were talking about installing basement windows over here, and at this point we have those in, cut perfectly. And we do still need to seal them on the outside. We're going to put like a little baseboard or something around the window frames, but other than that, they're done. We did run into a few problems with this door. We're planning on padlocking the door down here so that nobody can use it anymore. It is pretty much unusable at this point already. However, if somebody wanted to break in, they could open this door and theoretically enter the house. You've got a couple options on how to fix that problem. You can weld it shut, which we opted not to do because that's an awful lot of work. What we did was we basically put plywood around the entire inside of this door. So if somebody opens the door, they're just going to be staring at a wall, and they would actually have to break through the wall to get into the house. So that was a nice, quick, cheap, and easy fix for how to fix that problem. So anyway, moving around to the side here again, we're going to go ahead and go back inside. Still working on the front door. It is not permanently placed in this structure yet. We already covered what we're planning on doing with the door in the last episode. However, we did add the doorknob. So now we've got a way to lock the house when we're away. So that's nice. We've got the bathroom over here. Still pretty much a work in progress. 2x4s haven't been put across the ceiling yet. This is going to be the light fixture for the bathroom. We got this from Home Depot for about $65. It's an LED light that's supposed to last like 45 years or something like that and never needs to be changed. So I thought that was pretty cool. The countertops have been cut. This is going to be the main kitchen counter here. And this is the extra piece over there for what we're going to put against this wall on this side. And as you can see, we've jerry-rigged some electricity in here. So we actually do have electricity throughout the home at this point, although it's far from perfect. Another thing you might notice is the frame for the kitchen window has been cut. We have not put the kitchen window in yet, but we're getting close. My guess is we'll probably have that done by the time we film again out here. We're starting a little additional work on the frame here for the bathroom. We're going to put a sliding door in the bathroom that's going to be about this wide. So quite a bit smaller than a regular door, but still plenty of room to enter without any trouble. One thing that I forgot to cover in the last episode was how we put these 2x4s in. So let's go ahead and take a peek down here. As you can see, there are no brackets, no nothing. We've got basically a 1x4, or basically a 1x1 down here at the bottom. Or maybe that's a 2x2. I think that's a 2x2 because these are 2x4s. So this section here would be 2 inches. So that means this section here is 2 inches, and this is also looks like 2 inches as well. So this should be like a 2x2 section. And this goes all the way along the bottom of the house. And what we did was we basically just screwed the 2x4s in at an angle so that we did not need any brackets of any kind. And that ended up saving quite a bit of money and time. So just something to consider. Now you want to make sure that these are flat, which is one of the reasons we didn't go with the brackets, because if you put a bracket right here, that's going to interfere with your plans when you try and lay the sheetrock. So this needs to be completely flat all the way along here in order to get the sheetrock laid. So just a few things to consider there when you're putting up the 2x4s. Now on the wall here, it's more of the same. We've got the double here because this is where the door is going to go. This 2x4 that's going along the bottom here is basically going to be the width of the bathroom wall when we're finished. So this wall is actually going to be about 8 inches thick. And what we're going to do is we're going to run some more 2x4s along the top here that are going to be parallel to this one on the bottom, and then put the brackets in for the sliding door, and then cover it with sheetrock on the other side. So that's the plan for right now. That may change. If it does, we'll be covering it in future episodes. One thing that I think I forgot to mention about the bathroom in our last episode was we're planning on elevating the floor in the bathroom, probably somewhere around 18 inches. And we're doing that so that we can run the plumbing underneath the bathroom and then out the side of the house here at the bottom near the baseboards, so that this thing will basically plug in exactly like an RV. You'll have 3 hookups, one for water, one for sewer, one for electricity, and it'll all just plug into the bottom corner of the house here, just like an RV would, which will allow this thing to be considerably more transportable if we decide to do that in the future. So anyway, here's what we got for the bathroom so far. Not really a whole lot of changes other than what I covered with the 2x4s, which I should have covered in the last episode. One more thing that I would like to mention while we're working on this is I basically got this idea. The wife wanted an RV, and I didn't really want that, but I was looking around at, what kind of RVs I could get for future traveling adventures and things of that nature. And I ended up stumbling upon this channel called Living Big in a Tiny House. It's a guy from New Zealand. His name is Bryce Langston, and basically he just travels the world and tours tiny homes that people have built. So it's actually a really cool channel, and I've watched a lot of his episodes on there, and I basically got just like a whole bunch of different ideas on what I wanted to do with my tiny house. Most of the people on that channel are living in spaces that are about half this big, and when I was looking at them I was like, oh man, there's like no way that I'm going to be able to convince the wife to live in one of these things. So that's why I opted to go with this 45-foot shipping container, because when this is done, it will essentially be the size of a 1-bedroom apartment, which we should be able to live in very comfortably. I also got some ideas for storage and things like that from watching that channel. So if you're considering building a tiny home or something like that, I would recommend watching his channel for a little bit, or channels similar to it, where you can see, look at tiny homes and see what other people have done. So let's go along with our progress here. If you've noticed, we've got plywood for the floors laid down all the way up through the living area and all the way back to that wall. So I'd say about 85% of the plywood has been laid at this point. We brought in the sheetrock so that it wouldn't get wet. And if you've noticed, we've got a lot of cabinets here. I was able to find like a slew of kitchen cabinets on Craigslist for free. So I ended up just grabbing the entire lot, and we've stuck them in here. So eventually, this is going to be the kitchen area here. We're probably going to be running cabinets like all the way along at the upper side of the wall. This wall is very high. It's higher than the regular ceiling of a house would be. It's about 8.5 feet high. So when all is said and done, we're going to have room for cabinets like all the way along here, which will help with storage, in addition to elevating the bedroom, which I covered last episode. Now, speaking of the bedroom, let's go ahead and move into the bedroom area here. You can see that we have removed the elevated section of the bedroom. And what happened here was we got a little ahead of ourselves and weren't really thinking about flooring and insulation. With this big frickin' plank over here elevating the bedroom, the insulation and the flooring and all those things gets much, much more difficult. So we opted to simply remove it, and that has helped with getting the flooring put down in this area and the insulation against this back wall and things of that nature. Now, as you can see, we've still got the 2x4 along the wall here where we are planning on elevating the bedroom. As you can see, we ran into problems here with the insulation, so we're probably going to be removing that as well. And we're simply just going to insulate this whole thing and probably lay our laminate plank flooring down in this area as well, and then put this back up. So that ended up being a bit of a setback. I am still a big fan of elevating the bedroom, especially with this high ceiling, because that's just going to allow for a slew of storage, tons and tons of storage tubs, you name it. So I'm sticking with that idea, but like I said, we got a little ahead of ourselves, so we had to backtrack a little bit. So, going against this back wall, you can see that if you open the shipping container from the outside, that you are not going to be able to get in here. So that's a nice thing. We've already got the insulation pretty much done for the back wall, with the exception of this corner over here. As you can see, the basement windows here are all framed and everything, and pretty much ready to go. So we got that covered. And we have the ceiling fan installation up there. We've already bought the ceiling fans, one for the bedroom and one for the living area. Now this bedroom is going to be pretty large when it's done. We're elevating the section where the bed is going to go, but we're not elevating the entire bedroom. The bedroom is going to go all the way back to somewhere right about here. So as you can see, this is a pretty good sized bedroom. And I'm actually thinking that when it's done, we're going to have room for all of our dressers. I was pretty certain that the wife was going to have to get rid of a dresser or two, just because there wasn't going to be room for it. But when we've got the bedroom, the bed section elevated against this back wall, there's still going to be enough room against this wall for one dresser. And then we're going to be building a wall here, also with a sliding door for the bedroom, which means the other dresser should be able to go against that wall that we're building, and my little dresser should be able to go against this corner over here. Now, as I mentioned in the previous episode, we're also going to be building a full-size closet along this wall, from where the elevated section ends over to the bedroom wall. So I think when this is done, this is actually going to be a really nice bedroom, maybe even better than the one we are currently living in. We've also decided to add a power outlet over here. This is going to need to be elevated a little bit because we didn't take into account the fact that our bed frame is going to be going. See, here's where the floor is going to be. So we actually need to elevate this probably another foot, maybe 2 feet, to account for the bed frame. But what we're going to do is we're going to have the head of the bed against this wall over here. And then on this wall, we're going to put like a little TV and a Roku box and our retro game system and some things like that, so we can actually kick back in our bed and watch TV and play video games and things like that. So I think that's going to be a very nice addition. Our regular television is just going to go here in the living room against this wall over here. The living room is probably going to be one of the last things that gets done in this house, just because it's the middle section and there's just so much stuff that's going in and out of the tiny house at this point. There's not really any point in building anything right here. So, anyway, that's where we're at right now. I will be back again in a couple more weeks. I suspect that the next time that I shoot one of these videos, the bedroom is going to be just about done. We're working hard on the bedroom right now because, as I mentioned in my previous video, my buddy Rich, who's helping me build this thing, is pretty much living in this right now. And we're already looking at the end of October at this point, and it's going to start getting cold. Shipping containers are notorious for being super hot in the summertime and super cold in the winter because they're made out of metal. So that's why they need to be insulated very, very well, which is what we're doing with this back wall. So our plan right now is to finish the bedroom and get the whole thing insulated so that we can just have a heater in the bedroom section, and Rich can stay warm in here without having to heat this entire thing, which would be very, very difficult because it's not insulated. So yeah, we're going to be hitting the bedroom really hard here in the next couple of weeks, and hopefully we can get that knocked out so that Rich has a nice warm place to hang out for this winter while he finishes the rest of the house. So anyway, that's where we're at right now, and thanks for watching, everybody, and I will see you in a couple more weeks with more progress on this tiny house. Talk to you then.